Hey folks, hope you guys are having a tremendous and great Saturday. Springtime. Everyone likes springtime, right? Generally, wherever you're at. Springtime's like one of the times when the weather's manageable and good. Talked about this last week, like people were like, oh, the weather in California is so good. I'm like, well, it's good 6 months out of the year, but that's kind of true wherever you're at, you know. It's like I lived by the beach and it was like really cloudy and gloomy in the summer. But it was really nice in, spring and fall. And winter, it was kind of cold. It was okay. It was okay in winter. I'd say it was, Southern California beach. It's like slightly better than average as far as weather for the total goes. If you go to the Central Valley, you're looking at it's very mild winters, really nice spring, really nice fall, awful summer where it's just oppressively hot. Why would you move to Texas? It's so hot here. It's hot in California too. I don't know. Oh, why would you move to Texas from Ohio? It's so hot in the summer here. It's like it's hot in Ohio in the summer too. I don't know. Where is it not hot in the summer? Anyway. Yeah, I like spring a lot, so. And around here, it's really great. We got, lots of blossoms because there's so much farming going on, which means I have to take antihistamines and, Otherwise, I'll just be getting hay fever really bad around this time of the year. I think we're going to go take some family pictures this afternoon with the blossoms. My fruit trees are all blossoming, except my apple tree. My apple tree always blossoms late. I think it's really meant for, northern climes more than these warm California areas. So anyway, let's talk a little bit today about Generation Y. So I'm going to go ahead and link a free collection for you guys. Free collection edited by J.D. Cowan, who I don't think I've had him on the show, but it's got essays and stories by him, Brian Niemeyer, and myself. It's called Generation Y, the New Lost Generation. If you don't know what Gen Y is, or, you would probably remember if you were Gen Y, because that's what we were called before basically the entire cohort was dropped to focus on the younger generation of millennials. And so you end up having people go, now they've created new words for it, like Zennials or something like that. Like, oh, they're young Gen X, but old millennial. No, back then we were called Gen Y before the year 2000 because it was just the next generation of people that's going on. So if you're born from the late 70s to the late 80s, you're part of this cohort that we call Generation Y. And the essays that are in this collection and the stories that are in this collection are a snapshot of an ongoing conversation that happened not just between JD and Brian and myself between 20 and 21, but a whole community of authors and other people who, including all of you watching, and all the people who've watched all the Gen Y videos I've had on the channel before. An ongoing conversation about that cohort, its experiences, how it's different, how it's been forgotten, how it's been memory holed, been really washed away, and some of the characteristics of that generation. You notice a lot of the Star Wars nostalgia guys are part of Gen Y. A lot of the people who are really big fans of series from the 80s and 90s and like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. That is a product of Gen Y. Why is that generation unique? Well, compared to, say, Generation X, Gen Y really inherited completely dysfunctional social systems and institutions. So our education, we were really the first cohort that experienced a completely non-functional educational system. An educational system where even back in the 80s and 90s, we were told how bad white people were, and that the conquest of America over the Native Americans was this, evil affair by our ancestors and things like that. That stuff was present 30 years ago. Now there's a lot of focus on it, but it was already there. We already had situations where you had, social promotion of people, complete, very ironclad age grouping, so that people failed for years on end and only now are people starting to wake up and realize that that was a bad thing? You had lots of these little trends in education that really were indicative that the education system had failed. There was no longer any standards in education. My cohort was the first one where people were really graduating from high school illiterate, unable to read or write or do any kind of math, yet they have a high school diploma because everybody gets pushed through. My generation was also told everybody has to go to college if they want to be successful. So it's the first generation that had really exploding college costs. When I started at the university, and I attended university under scholarship, but my first year, I think tuition each semester was like $800. By the time I left, it was like $2,200. And that was just like a 4-year span. And that's not for out of state. If you were out of state, you went from paying like $2,200 a semester to like $5,000-6,000 if you were coming from out of the state of California, because it was a state college. So my generation, these are the guys walking around, the lawyers with $150,000 in student debt who are working for $35,000 a year as attorneys. That's Generation Y, is that we were prepared for a world that simply ceased to exist when we were adults and we didn't realize it. And part of it is what I call ideological, what's the right word here? Ideological inertia, which is to say you conceive of the world, or conceptual inertia, let's say. Your concept of how institutions work and how the world works has inertia, meaning you assume it's continuing even if it's changed. And so our parents assumed that the educational system they were throwing their kids into was functional, but for our generation it wasn't. It was just not functional. Our generation remembers the Cold War. We were born in the Cold War. We remember nuclear apocalypse, as a threat. We remember the Cold War going away in the 90s with the collapse of the Soviet Union. And we remember 9/11 as adults. So we have a very clear memory of pre 9/11. People who are millennials born, let's say 1990 and on, don't really have a good memory of what the world was like before 9/11. It was a completely different world. What the world was like before the Patriot Act, what the world was like before 20 years of endless war. Gen Y remembers peace. Like, we were teenagers and there were military conflicts because there was like Kosovo, Bill Clinton's kind of personal war in Kosovo to distract people from what he was doing in the Oval Office. There were lots of things like that, but not invasions and things that lasted for 20 years. So we remember all these different phases very, very well. We're also latchkey kids. Now, Gen X, maybe we can think of Gen X as like the first daycare generation. But Gen Y, it was when the daycare generation was like omnipresent. We were all in daycare, and half of the kids had divorced parents. Half of the kids were latchkey kids. They just walked home from school and were alone. There were no adults. I remember getting out of school at like 3 p.m. The buses would pull up, the kids would load on the buses, and after the buses left, the neighborhood was just deserted, and I lived in that neighborhood. So we'd walk home. There were no adults. There were no cars in the driveways. It was just an empty place. It was almost creepy looking back, just how empty the neighborhood felt after school was off. The teachers weren't really, after the bell rang at 3 o'clock. By 3:30, they were gone or back in their classrooms or something like that. Unless you were in like the daycare. They had like a school daycare, or you had to go to another daycare. So a lot of kids, myself included, we were dropped off at 7:30, 30 minutes before school because our parents had to go to work. And then we were picked up from daycare at like 5, 6 in the afternoon. And then we'd maybe go to soccer practice and then get home at 8 and do homework till 9 and go to sleep. And so you just didn't have any free time as a kid. You didn't have any kind of personal time. You just kind of played with your toys in the margins, or you really looked forward to your Saturdays. And this is, I said this in another video, and it's actually quoted in the Gen Y book. You looked forward to Saturdays because it was like just this ability to have something fun to do for a little while, because so much of your time was spent in school, this non-functional institution that treated you like crap. In my generation was the ADHD generation. A lot of people don't. ADD is kind of trended up. A lot of my peers were on very powerful stimulants because they didn't behave in class. And if you look at it, it's like, well, why isn't Johnny sitting still like a girl for 8 hours straight? There must be something wrong with him. Well, maybe the environment's not quite so adapted to the person rather than the person being like maladapted or disordered. It's just he's not adapted to some kind of little strict classroom environment. Our generation really experienced what J.D. Cowan calls cultural ground zero. Cultural ground zero is like 1997. It's basically culture progressed, things changed, things evolved, things got better and more refined until about 1997 when things really slowed down and almost stopped as far as progression. If you go back and listen to rock music from 1998, it's pretty much identical to rock music in 2020. You go back and you look at what people were wearing in the year 2000. It's not really that different than what they're wearing in 2022. Now, there might be a couple of trends that have happened in the meantime. There was like the scenester trend and like some of that stuff, right? So there's some little trends that happen. And like some people started wearing skinny jeans for a while. It's not like 100% no change ever. But like the skinny jeans thing was like an 80s thing even, you know? So most of the things that we think of as cultural institutions really had their beginnings in the 90s, and we haven't really progressed. You know, movies tell stories in the same styles. We've had almost 20 years worth of Marvel movies at this point. 20 years worth of like the same format of movie with the same characters. That's kind of crazy to think about, but it's been a long time. It's like, I'm trying to think when the first Iron Man movie came out. I want to say like 2005. It's been a long time. So cultural ground zero, when all of these big things happened, and then it just continued. You just have a constant recycling. And part of it, I think, is that things have become more diverse and more genreified. And then the pop culture has become a gray goo continuing on from 1997. And I've talked about like gaming ground zero. The gaming industry soldiered on for another 10 years until it became very crystallized. All of its genres, all of its games being crystallized. We're still playing Call of Duty. You know, Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out in 2007, I think, and we've had that game now since then. We've had it for 15 years. 15 years of Call of Duty. And it's the same game. We've had the same game for 15 years. We've had World of Warcraft for 15 years. We've had the same games for 15 years. Hasn't been this big progression. If you go before that, it's like, man, every single generation, new games, new gameplay styles were coming out. Now it's like the games are slightly more photorealistic and they're the same gameplay that we've had. You know, we had Demon Souls come out in like 2007. We have Elden Ring, just basically open world Demon Souls, right? And I like Demon Souls. Great game. I like From Software games. Great gameplay. But we haven't really gone forward past that. These things just kind of get crystallized, and we're not getting a whole lot of new stuff mixed in there. So anyway, that's Generation Y. The big things that typify Gen Y is really that we're very atomized and very lonely because we weren't raised to be able to operate in the world that actually exists. We were raised to operate in our parents' world, and that just ceased to exist around 2000. So the gig economy, all those sorts of things. People went out and got professional degrees and then found out that there was no demand for their professional degrees and they would be better off working at Starbucks. So, you know, the age of the person with a literature PhD working at Starbucks, why is this person so stupid to have taken out college debt to get a literature PhD? Because everyone told him to do it. Everyone said, well, if you get the PhD, you'll have a college teaching job and you make $100,000 a year teaching 3 classes. And then as universities have charged more and more and more, they've cut their faculty down more and more and more to where they get rid of as many high-paying tenure positions as possible. And you have a field of adjunct literature PhDs teaching 2 or 3 classes because that's literally the only work that they can get. With their PhD in literature, and then working at Starbucks on the side to try to afford like a 1-bedroom apartment in the city, and like falling ass backwards into debt while they do it. That's Gen Y. They're like, why did they make these bad decisions? Because they were told that they were the right decisions. Their parents, their teachers, their counselors, they all told them the wrong things all the way. And so you inherit an adult life where every decision you made is wrong, but you just did what you were told. Like, it wasn't like you made a bad, like, everyone told me that smoking crack was bad, and then I smoked crack and I became addicted. It's not that. It's if everyone told me smoking crack was good, that I would never get addicted and it would make me attractive, and I started smoking crack, I can't stop it, and all my teeth fell out. That's really more what it's like. There's almost like a generational betrayal, but it's not the boomers' fault per se. It's their fault for like the policies they enacted, the way they voted, for sure. But they were just trying to get their kids to have the best life possible. And they didn't really think that the world would be completely different for their children from how it was for them. So, that's Gen Y. So please check out that collection. It's great. It's organized and edited by J.D. Cowan. I really appreciate him doing that. And it's free, so you can enjoy all of those essays by myself, Brian, and J.D., and some stories. And in fact, it ends with one of my personal favorite stories that I've written. It's called Middlebury, a Gen Y tale. And I don't even know how to describe it, because it's one of the weirdest things that I've written. Someone in the audiobook version on YouTube described it as a schizophrenia simulator, which I guess I write some of those, like this one, Eyes in the Walls, which is kind of a schizophrenia simulator. In fact, the main character gets diagnosed with it. But there's more. Of course, there's more to the story than that. Okay, so that's Gen Y. Check that out. Also out right now, Pulp Rock. This is another anthology. This one's edited by Alexander Helene. I have a 2-hour book in this, one of my 2-hour books that I've been working on for a couple years to try to get, like a 2-hour experience. It's called Farewell to Once and Future Kings. It's musicians who are spies in space. So if that sounds interesting, check that out. And there's lots of other good stuff by other authors. My physical edition looks pretty good, and I'm slowly reading through it in what tiny free time I have right now, because I'm trying to paint my house and get it ready to sell and all that kind of stuff. There's so much up in the air. It's crazy right now. Like Gen Y experience, moving. There was like 10 years of my life where I moved every single year. I lived in a different place every single year for like 10 years of my life. It's like I lived, in my parents' house, and then like an apartment and another apartment and a house, and then like a different house, and then Las Vegas, and 2 apartments in Las Vegas, and then LA, and then like back to Bakersfield, and then to Modesto. I moved every single year, or sometimes twice a year, for like 10 or 12 years of my life. And here we are moving again. But we kind of have to at this point. We didn't really want to. I wouldn't have built this office if I was like, we got to move. I just want to move. We just kind of have to. So anyway, I will, let's take a look at the chat. Are you streaming during Lent after this week? Yes, I will be streaming. I'm probably not going to look or respond to YouTube comments and stuff, but I'll stream because this is part of my business. Oh, Shadow and Smoke's out. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's link some of these. So here's Shadow and Smoke. That's the newest Moonsong book. And of course, where is it? Pulp Rock. We'll link that. And we'll link the Gen Y one more time. Is the cultural malaise we're going through an organic trend or a form of social engineering? I guess that's the big question. I can't answer that for sure. Like, I don't know 100% one way or the other. I think it might be a combination. I think it's kind of organic in that the internet has allowed people access to just infinite variety of things. So if you're like really into Norwegian death metal, you can just listen to Scandinavian death metal all day. If you're really into black metal, you can just listen to that. If you're really into J-pop, you can just listen to that all day, or any combination of those. And so what that does is, say with music, there's not really like a pop culture of music the way there was in the 90s. In the 90s, you turn on the radio, and because of the way like clear channel communications worked even, you could be in different parts of the country and you'd hear the same 5 songs every hour. You heard the same stuff wherever you went. The pop music was omnipresent. Now, I remember even 10 years ago, I'd go to Applebee's and I'd hear these songs, and someone would say, oh, these are really popular songs. I'd be like, I've never heard this before, because I was able to exist in my own little isolated world where that just didn't like really affect me. So pop culture as a phenomenon has really gone away, partly because of the internet. And what's left gets kind of more crystallized and more squished because you have to appeal to an even bigger demographic. So it used to be you could make things that were really popular that still had a little bit of authenticity or a kind of niche appeal to them. You could have a band like Pantera sell 1 million records. Pantera is quite harsh, but obviously there's enough of an audience for it. Nowadays, a record company would not sign a band like Pantera with the expectation that they would be a cultural phenomenon, because it just doesn't appeal to enough people. You have to be completely gray goo to appeal to anyone at this point, because it's just like the least offensive thing possible. I don't believe J.D. Cowan's cultural ground zero is. I've been alive 28 years. The culture has constantly changed. Well, I've been alive 38 years, and I'm telling you, it hasn't really changed much in the last 20. In terms of the forms of art, like the music is really similar as far as the pop music goes. The movies are really similar. Like, it's not even like we're seeing a lot of new movie technologies. CG is better. Like, things have gotten better, but we're talking like things were like this, and then they're like very slowly changing. There's always a couple little weird trends that happen. Like, it's not like a zero-sum game where there's nothing new that ever happens. But in terms of the pop music, the popular culture, it's pretty much just people are wearing jeans and t-shirts. You know, people are wearing like leggings from the 80s. That's where we're at. So bizarre that we've actually had very little progression in the last 20 years. It is. It's just more of the same. I'm in hour 40, Final Fantasy V. Love that game. I like it too. Exodus theme might be my favorite villain theme, but maybe a little more than Kefka's. But I do love Kefka's theme. Yeah, I like Kefka's theme too. Final Fantasy V just has, like, the meta level of the gameplay is just so much fun. Like building your classes and making your just like perfect mime characters. So you can go in and just wreck X-Death at the end in a couple of turns. It's just so fun. For example, in 2008, Obama said that marriage was between a man and a woman and spoke against illegal immigration. No Democrat would say those things today. Well, let's go back 20 years. California they banned gay marriage. So gay marriage has been a political discussion for 20 years. And maybe we've had a change in the zeitgeist where it's just shifted enough where it's like it's politically viable to say you're for gay marriage, and it's like suicidal to say you're against it in certain spheres. But that doesn't, like, we're still talking about the same thing, like transgenderism and stuff like that. These sort of political extreme things aren't really what I'm talking about as far as popular culture. You know, when did Will and Grace premiere? Premiere date. September 21st, 1998. We have been doing the gay culture thing for 24 years. It's the same as it was in 1998. It's the same crap. It's the same gay jokes. It's the same gay jokes about gay people. It's the same agenda from 24 years ago. The agenda hasn't even changed. Popular culture hasn't even. Will and Grace was a super popular show 24 years ago. So no, it really hasn't progressed that much. You know, I would say, like, I still agree that, like, conservatism is basically liberalism at the speed limit. You know, we're putting the brakes on this whole gay culture thing. Let's go back to Will. You know, we don't want to go past Will and Grace and Queer Eye for the straight guy. Let's just go back to that. We don't need, you know, genderqueer story time or whatever it is now. They had the like the cross-dressing story, the drag queen story time, right? People now, this is a good point. Bento makes a good point. Just in the last few years, the Koofa hysteria has completely changed the culture. People 5 years ago would have thought wearing masks everywhere was crazy. Now that's true. That's true, but that's part of how the popular programming is even possible, right? A lot of people are just NPCs. They just sort of receive the programming and like update and just do that. They don't really think critically about any of it. So that's a really good point. Another unintended effect of creative democratization that promised more goods is that things have become so saturated that it's created a Matthew effect of already popular IPs maintaining and growing their status over and above new IPs. Yeah, because there's an uncertainty. Well, let's go see a Marvel movie because we know that it's going to be like a 7 out of 10 movie at least, right? It'll at least be 6. You know, it'll be okay. It'll be fun. You know that it's going to be a fun action movie with lots of flashing lights. So that's Marvel, right? Versus, I don't know if I want to go see this weird Peter Jackson movie. What was that one he did? Was it Mortal Engines? I never saw it. I really wanted to see it, but I couldn't see it because of the time it came out. Did Jackson do that? No, Christian Rivers was the director. But it was shot in New Zealand. Maybe it was his company. Let me read about it. I heard it wasn't good, but it looked like such a weird idea. I just really wanted to see it. Yeah, Peter Jackson produced it. Okay. And he wrote the screenplay. So it's sort of, he didn't direct it. But it just looked like so weird and interesting. I just never got around to watching it because life's crazy. In 2018, what was happening? Oh, my wife was pregnant. I was selling my house, my old house, to move into this one because we're like, we can't fence the pool at the old house. We've got these little kids. We can't have them falling in the pool. You know, I intended to stay in this house a lot longer than I've been able to stay in there. I was following your Photoshop tutorial on your playlist, but I noticed I barely had any textures compared to yours. How do I get more textures like metallic? Oh, I don't know. I can't answer that because it's just in my Photoshop. It might be the cross between like the way I shade the bevels and then the texture that I use on top of that. I think one reason that media is stuck with remakes and sequels is that people feel awash in a sea of change. Exactly, I think you're right. Familiar franchises provide a semblance of stability. That's a really good point. Yeah, I agree with that. Will you ever get into the Souls games? Yeah, I like them. I would love to play Elden Ring right now, but I just, like, I haven't, my life is just kind of chaos right now. And those games are a little bit more intense. Like, I thought about buying Elden Ring and just streaming it because I think it'd be fun to watch, for people to watch me die over and over again at different things. But, I would love to play it right now. There's so much chaos going on. I just don't know if I can commit $60 to playing a game. I would love to play Elden Ring right now. I do like the Souls games. I have Demon's Souls for PS5, and it's actually a really good remake. It's one of those rare things where the remake isn't like a garbage remake. It's really good. I should stream it sometime because it's a really good game. I have the original Demon's Souls for PS3, so this is basically like the same geometry of the levels, just textures brought up, and it's more responsive because it runs at like 60 FPS or 120 FPS. You put on performance mode. And since I have like a 120 hertz monitor, it looks good. It's a beautiful looking game. It plays better than the original simply because of that higher frame rate. It's more fluid. You feel like you're able to react more to things. You wouldn't think that just like 30 versus 60 FPS would make a difference, but I'd say with PS5, that's the biggest difference with the new console generation, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, is the higher frame rates and the fact that Sony gives you the option. Like at PS4, they didn't give you the option. They're like, no, you can't turn on the graphics and play 60 FPS. Do 30 FPS, right? 30 FPS racing games. But you have the option of doing 60, and whenever you have that option, you should probably take it. It runs like Final Fantasy 14 at like 60 FPS at 4K, and that's like sharp and great looking, But the big thing is that the higher frame rates makes the game look a lot better because you can see much more of the detail because look at this like hummingbird effect, because it's much more fluid motion in that. So yeah, I do like the Souls games. Have you ever seen any 1930s movies with gay jokes? There were quite a few in pre-code movies and even subtle ones in Hays Code era. Yeah, I've seen some. There's the thing about gay jokes in the past was like they were, they're a different kind of gay joke. It's more like rebuking your masculinity in a sense and being like, oh, I think he's gay. Gay jokes post Will and Grace are, look at the gays, they're so silly. That's gay jokes. It's actually very, it should be offensive to gay people, but it's not for some reason because while it does that, it also advances the idea of like it normalizes homosexuality in those relationships. So because it's because it's a net cultural positive, they forgive the fact that Will and Grace is nothing but gay jokes. It's nothing but a nonstop making fun of gay people. That's really what it is. But I don't know. I've never had a gay person say that. Like, I found it offensive. I found that ridiculous portrayal of flaming effeminate gay men to be offensive. And I'd say I've known many gay men, right? I've done musical theater. I know gay men. I have met gay men who act like the Will and Grace characters. Especially, what's that? I'm trying to remember the one that's like super flaming. I have met gay men that are like that. But most of the gay men I've known don't act like that. They don't have a weird lisp. They don't play up. They're not overly dramatic people. They're normal people. Like, they act like normal human beings. They don't act in some weird, like, they don't have a gay personality. They're not like, oh, he's gay because his personality is gay. It's just, you know, it's not that far from just like a heterosexual guy. Maybe there's going to be subtle differences, but it's not, it's not like this this crazy gay personality thing. It's a little weird, honestly, looking at something like Will and Grace, where you're like, this portrayal of gay people is honestly, I hate to use their words, but it's quite problematic. It makes people think that gay people act like this when they really don't. I don't know where that comes from. All right, let's go ahead and play some games. Lady for a Day has a scene where an effeminate tailor goes to a room with a woman who's about to undress. A man protests, but a woman makes a knowing face and says, "It's okay." Yeah, it's kind of like the wink wink thing. It's always been there, and that's what a confirmed bachelor was. I used this word with someone who was younger, and they're like, what does that mean? Like, are they MGTOW or something? It's like, no, they're gay. That's what confirmed bachelor meant. So when somebody said he's a confirmed bachelor, that means he'll never marry a woman because he's not interested in women. He's interested in men. In other words, he's gay. He's not interested in he'll always be a bachelor because he's not interested in the company of women, you see. War is now humanitarian intervention. All you need is a nice rebrand. That was the case 20 years ago, though. Kosovo was a humanitarian intervention, not a unilateral war to distract people from some improprieties in the White House. Yeah, there's many people who believe Bill Clinton committed should have been impeached for war crimes, not for perjury. So anyway, there's that. All right, let's play some games. Let's have a little bit of fun. I think I'm going to play with my Xbox controller today. Where did I put it? Been having problems with this one. For whatever reason, connecting to the PC, this button doesn't work. Works on the Switch. It works on everything else. I connect it to a PC. It's like, nah. It doesn't. How am I going to work for you? What did I do with it? Man, I have so many controllers that I can actually just visit. Here we go. I can physically lose one. This is great for playing with your phone, by the way. I got a little phone clip doodad, so you can play Final Fantasy IX on your phone. And that's a great game. Let's see if it's going to connect. We'll find out. Let's find out. All right. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Whoa. Pressing the Xbox button brings up a bunch of weird stuff. Never seen that before. There we go. Load state. Alright. Alright, we're working our way through this cave. Let's go through it. sure where I was supposed to be going. Go forward this way. We'll find out. Do you think Paradise Lost makes Satan too sympathetic? Perhaps. Oh. Everyone's dead. Alright, let's Phoenix down. I never use his magic, so we'll just use it real quick. Alright. Alright. Now, which way was I going here? This way? Nope, I came this way. Am I going up this way? What do you think of the Brandon Sanderson Kickstarter? My sister sent me that. I haven't really looked at it, so I don't have an opinion really yet. I just haven't had the time to just think about it lately. That's just how it's been. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Sound Engraver. I have to run. Thanks always for the content. Thank you for hanging out. I have Osmos in here. I do. It trims down a little bit. Oh, fire heals him. Let's see if I now have another AoE. I have another AoE in there. Luckily, he does have magic, so we can just do this magic. What do you think of Paradise Lost overall? I haven't read it in probably 20 years. I didn't really enjoy it when I read it. Though I liked the idea of it. Let's say I liked the idea of it, but I didn't enjoy the reading of it. And I think just because I didn't like the language at the time. It deserves another look for sure. I think it's cool that Brandon Sanderson has a bunch of books that he's publishing. It's kind of weird that we're like, oh, in like 2022, isn't it cool that an author actually publishes books? You know, isn't it cool that that he's actually publishing books? Because like George R.R. Martin doesn't publish books. A lot of these guys just don't publish books. They don't do anything. Let's see here. I need to look at. Let's see here. We'll do that one for now. Let's sketch the dinosaur. There's a great Symphony X album based on Paradise Lost I like. Man, I regret my early 2010 self in terms of gay views. Yeah. We're all there. Because you just kind of go along with like what seems, what seems appropriate at the time. And everybody's telling you like this is how it is. You just kind of do that. Blitz. All right. Mystical Purity slams an enemy. Fire attack slams enemies. Wind attack slams enemies. Okay, let's look at this one. Up. Is it just a circle? I think it's just a circle. It's like a clockwise circle. Refreshes other party members. Oh, we have a heal. RLRLXY. Alright, let's try the wind attack one. Alright. Have to look at that. You heard of the new Batman theme by Michael Giacchino? It's just 4 notes over and over again, sort of like the Terminator theme. I haven't. That can work, though. Honestly, it can work. I guess I can't go through here. So what am I doing here? Ah, I didn't do it right. Ukrainian flag. Gondor calls for aid! Our thoughts and prayers are with Gondor, sending positive energy their way. Theoden has changed his profile picture. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Blood on the Blade. Would really like to see a Final Fantasy VI remake in Yoshitaka Amano's. In fact, Final Fantasy VII should have been like that too. Tetsuya Nomura screwed up Final Fantasy's aesthetic. Final Fantasy VII originally was going to be made in this style. And then, you know, when they made the decision to switch to the PlayStation, they chose to go in a different art direction. And even then, it wasn't, like, unified. Because they, you know, the characters are, like, goat-footed chibi style for some of it. And then they are... This is going to be a good one. Juno is a zombie. Yeah. So yeah, they were originally going to do more of the pixel style, but when they went with PlayStation, they felt like they needed to go 3D. So half of the characters are chibi, half of them are something else, you know. Mugu Mugu? Airblade. Technically, Demi can never kill you. It just keeps reducing your health by like a quarter. She hit herself in the face. What's your opinion of Kojima? I don't know. I like some of the Metal Gear Solid games. I guess there's a lot of people who think that he's like super overrated. So I don't know. Do you think one could write a hero with a flaw of being the virgin without falling into the Rothfuss trap of incel wish fulfillment? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely you can. You already have the path, which is you just don't fall into wish fulfillment. You just be honest about it, you know? Honestly, like, there's a movie called The 40-Year-Old Virgin that basically does that. It's literally about a virgin, and then it really it starts from a place that's like haha virgin, and then it actually very much humanizes him at the end of the by the end of the movie. Like he's kind of silly, and he you know, he like collects action figures and stuff. But it doesn't really fall into wish fulfillment. It's humanizing of all the characters, believe it or not. The new Batman theme sells the intimidating nature of Batman and is catchy, but it doesn't have the complexity of Danny Elfman's theme. Let's see, am I going the right way here? I don't think I am. No, yeah, we needed to go... I'm not sure where I'm going now. I'm going backwards. Oh. By him. Yeah, I feel like, I'll be honest, I feel like Yoshitaka Amano's art style is not really used in the games. Maybe not even as inspiration, I don't know. It's just not used very much. You know, he does like the, you know, the character portraits, but then when we have it translated into the game, it's either this pixel style or it is in a photorealistic style for whatever that means for the time, and it doesn't really get translated into his actual style really at all. Oh, I can't suplex her. Please recommend 5 fantasy authors of the 80s. I'm not sure what the 80s means, because there's guys who started before the 80s that were popular in the 80s. There's guys who started in the 80s but became popular after the 80s, like Robert Jordan. Let me think for a minute. Maybe just stuff that was kind of popular in the 80s. I haven't read a ton of 80s stuff. I tend to read a lot of old stuff, like 60s and before. I like Glenn Cook's books a lot. I think, again, those started in the 70s, though. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when the first Black Company book came out. But if you haven't read the Black Company books, those are good. If you want really the origins of kind of young adult, fast-paced fantasy, you can read the Dragonlance books. I'm not that big of a fan of them like these days. But I don't know. Are you keeping up to date with the deluxe editions? I'm up to number 8. Usually if you wait a little while, you can get them at a discount. So that's something. So I usually wait like a month, and then I can get them, instead of paying $50 for them, I can get them for like $28. That's usually what I do. I don't have all this time. David Gemmell, Robert Jordan. Yeah, Robert Jordan really became popular in the 90s. And I have trouble recommending all of Robert Jordan because... how should I put it? Yeah, I have trouble recommending all of Robert Jordan because there's a lot of Wheel of Time books that aren't that good. I'm trying to remember what the good one here was. We'll try that one. Ice is doing a lot of work. Oh yeah, it's Earthquake. That one's good. But yeah, I like Glenn Cook. I feel like Glenn Cook started in the 70s. You know, I like the Dragon Riders of Pern, but that really started in the 60s and 70s too. Trying to remember which one is which. That's Quadras Land. Right, that works. Terry Brooks? Is that 80s? Have some anecdotes. Who else am I thinking of? Let's see here. Skills. I'm going to use his skills a lot. Get him up. Let's bump him up. Alright. Let me see when these books are written. Hold on. I think these were like 90s. So I keep thinking, like, half the time I think of something that's from the 80s, it's from the 70s, and half the time I think of something from the 80s, it's from the 90s, you know? Let me see when this was released. No, 2010, that's wrong. When did this come out? 1989, okay. That's really in the 90s, though, at that point. So, yeah, I've been reading this one lately by David Eddings. I think it's called The Diamond Throne. I've been enjoying it, but that's late 80s. It's hard to say. A lot of the times we think of stuff from the 80s, we really think of stuff from the 70s, like Dragon Riders of Pern, which I do like a lot. Do anything? I don't know where I'm going in this cave. I'm pretty sure I'm going totally just backwards at this point. So I'm going to just run away from this. It's a little faster. There we go. So yeah, we did this. Went this way. Went this way. Oh wait, can we go this way now? That's the real question. Yeah, H.R. Geiger showed up in the 70s. He got big in the 80s. That's true. We tend to think of Alien as like an 80s thing, but again, it started in the 70s. You think of Star Wars as that's it. You think of Star Wars as a 80s thing, but it started in the 70s. I like Lord Dunsany too. Yeah, like King of Elfland's Daughter. I can't run away. Alright, fine. Blocked the Demi, that's cool. Most of the Draenei stuff from Gamma was early 90s. Yeah, that's... Robert Jordan also wrote Conan novels in the 80s, believe it or not. And they're actually, like, not bad little Conan books. Surprisingly. Zombie Elric. What am I doing here? Secure. Pump this guy up. Alright, that's good. So much great 80s fantasy cinema. Legend, Excalibur, Conan the Barbarian. There's something unique about shiny blockbuster mainstreaming of 70s fantasy. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Which authors do you think have most influenced you as a writer? Michael Moorcock. I mean, Michael Moorcock wrote stuff in the 80s, but we really think of him as like 60s, 70s. It's another example. Like, he totally wrote a lot of stuff in the 80s. Michael Moorcock, Robert E. Howard, H.P. Lovecraft, J.R.R. Tolkien, Stephen King. Yeah, there's nothing over here. Yeah, this is... Yeah, so the change in video games really, the stagnation really started in 2008. It started after the leap to HD because we had a bunch of things just kind of get, especially in the console space, and the PC space too. They just got kind of cemented into place. Things grew a lot. Empty. Well, that's great. Things grew a lot up to that time, and then just kind of, you've had graphical improvement, but not even that big a graphical improvement. Certainly not like from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 were giant leaps. And PlayStation 3 to 4 was a step. A step forward. But it wasn't like it wasn't the same kind of leap, even though it was like a, was a console generation. And it's not going to do anything. Let's try that. Yeah, Minecraft. Minecraft is the best-selling game of all time. And is made by just like some guy. That should fill everybody with hope. That like, yes, things seem locked down, but they're really not. Like, an outsider can make a huge difference. But people are probably not going to anticipate it very well. VR is like a big thing that, I mean, really we can spend a lot of attention on VR, but you know, that's one of the first big technology things I've seen. But even that started in the 90s. We just haven't really seen it get mainstream until recently. I'd like to see Star Citizen completed. That's a big... Who knows what's going to happen. Here, let's save real quick. Let's use a tint. Now that I have a slight idea of where I'm going. Yeah, and they canceled him and unpersoned him while promoting his creation. Yep. That's it. Yeah, Madden's been stagnant for a long time, but not just that. I mean, like Call of Duty, the MMO space has basically been copying the Wrath of the Lich King era WoW design for 15 years. Revivify. The graphics actually do matter. I mean, but they don't matter. You know, yeah, the promotional material is all like, graphics are the greatest and most important thing ever. Because you can't really show gameplay in like a magazine ad. You know, the magazine ads, you didn't used to advertise this stuff on TV nearly as much as you do today. Yeah, indie games have been doing a good job, and that's the thing, is like we're talking about what's the biggest thing, you know, the big stuff, not necessarily the stuff which is great, but the biggest game of all time is an indie game. Have you played the Persona games? I have. Blowfish. Oh, he died. Is Persona 4 better than 5? I don't know. I haven't really played Persona 5. I played Persona 4. I have Persona 5, but I haven't, you know, I don't have that much time to play every little thing, so I have to be in kind of a mood, you know, to play Persona games. They're a little bit slow moving for me. I don't love the combat, but it's okay. I like it. Oh, whoops. Grab my phone. Can't go in the water yet. Guessing I'll have to come back here. Figure out where this is supposed to go. Which I don't know where it's supposed to go. Maybe I gotta go all the way back to the beginning here. What's the cringiest JRPG? I don't know. Earblade. All right. Clearly, I'm not supposed to go this way. And I can't go that way. I just like stop having these random encounters. I just want to like figure out this level without having to stop and fight monsters for like 5 minutes at a time. It just gets really annoying. I think maybe I'm supposed to take him back the other way. I don't know. Let's get out of here. There we go. It's so annoying. Can I jump that way? No. I think it's just going to be quickest if I like walk over the spikes, so I'm probably just going to do that. Like, this is where random encounters get really annoying, because you're like, where was I? What was I doing? What was the layout here? I haven't played this in a week, so it's, you know, that doesn't help, and it's been an incredibly busy week at that. But, like, it really doesn't help when you're trying to explore and do, like, puzzles like this, and you can't remember which way was which, but yet you have to navigate these dumb little areas. Like, it just interrupts what you're doing in a really annoying way. Okay. Have to walk on that. I don't know where I'm supposed to go here. Obviously, I need to get that guy there. Do I have to backtrack here? That's going to be annoying. So I'm going to have to play this level a little bit off stream because this is really boring to probably watch. Is me going, what? Where does this go? Oh, there we go. That's the switch I missed. All right. All right, go back. You know, now go this way. Now go up. That is something that I like about later Final Fantasy games a lot, is that they kind of got away from the turn-based stuff. I don't hate turn-based battles, but it just like random encounters when they don't mix well with exploration very much, you know? It just doesn't mix that well, that's all. Especially this kind of thing where you're having to go back and forth and figure out puzzles and walk around looking for stuff. It becomes a drain. It's like, man, why am I wandering around? Alright, now I understand. Let's see what this goes. Alright, so we gotta hit this switch. Alright. We're getting there. We're getting there now. I know where I'm at finally. I'm just gonna pick Hornet. See what that does. Oh, that was pretty good. Days of D&D. D&D, though, sometimes you had a map. Versus where you're like, where was I? What am I doing? Where, like, you leave the map screen in order to... you have to leave the map screen in order to fight a little thing here. Let's see what that does. I really love tactics games. Square Enix just came out with one called, what's it called? Triangle Strategy. That I actually do want to get for the Switch, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd have time to really play it. I'd love to stream it, but you know, that's a whole nother thing because I don't have a ton of time to stream as it is. Right now, you know. I don't remember the RTS Dune 2. I actually don't remember that one. I think I need to... cure. Get some more health going here. I think we need to check our espers. Palador. Alright, we got that one going. Oh, this one has Cure 3. That's good. Legion. Carbuncle. Bismarck. Phantom. Alright, we'll do Phantom. Couldn't do that one, apparently. Maduin. Alright, we'll do Maduin. We got all that. Good. We need maybe one with Bismarck, Palador. Slow, Haste, Slow 2. Alright, we'll do that one. Okay. Espers. That one. Palador. What about Fenrir? Oh, Starlet. Can't do that one. Maduin? Nope. Carbuncle. I would do Carbuncle. see. We're on Unicorn. Alright, I haven't done all those yet. Alright. I like Dysgia too. Yeah, I like those games as well. I think they're a lot of fun. And if you want to take them to like the you could play Dysgia games to like a point where you're doing super bosses at the end that do like billions of damage. It gets really out of control. But you can stop well before that. Like, you don't have to take it to that level. Which I appreciate about the Dysgia games. There we go. Okay, interesting. Little puzzle here. Which one do we want to go on? This one? Oh, no. Let's go get that chest. Gotta get the chests, you know. Empty. They're all empty. D&D can be fun, but it really depends like who you're playing with. I think this looks like a doorway down here. There's someone here. Well, that didn't do it. Okay. Why does video game writing tend to be corny? Because designers are often not writers, and they often hire bad writers. I mean, TV show dialogue is often corny for the same reason. There's a lot of bad writers in the world. Movie dialogue is corny for the same reason. There's a lot of bad writers in the world. Yeah, I think I like this one better than Final Fantasy VII, for sure. I don't know if I like this one more than Final Fantasy IV. Those are like probably one of my top ones. I really like this game a lot, though. I haven't played it in a long time, though, so I can't remember what I'm doing half the time. Antidote. Find an antidote here. Here we go. Look at all the power leveling. That's one way to look at it. And there we go. Oh, it cools down the lava. Very interesting. Here, let's save real quick. Gotta remember to save these games, you know? Phase. Do I have Osmos yet. I gotta get her Osmos. If I don't have it. Oh, I do have it. Okay. Let's top off this thing. That's gonna be good. Hornet. I like to collect miniatures. I don't collect miniatures, but you know, everybody's got their thing they do. I have too much stuff already. And that's the thing about this move that is really like coming home. It's like I have too much crap. I have way too much crap. You know, like I collect certain books. You know, like I have all those Berserk books, and even now I'm like, do I really need those? I can always just like read the PDF or something if I really want to. You know. I was looking for a good type for my book since it's Times New Roman. I recall you suggested Adobe Garamond. Is that still good for something that doesn't take up space but easy to read? Okay, I'll talk quickly about fonts. So Adobe Garamond is a premium font. It will cost you money if you don't have Adobe Typekit as part of some subscription service with whatever other creative thing that you're doing. There's nothing wrong with Times New Roman. Times New Roman is a perfectly adequate body font. Major books are still published in Times New Roman. Times New Roman is a fine font. It is okay to use Times New Roman. If somehow you want something prettier than Times New Roman, keep in mind most readers don't care what body font you use, but it must be a serif font. If it's a sans serif font, readers will actually slow down when reading it because something like Helvetica will just look like a bunch of vertical lines, unless you're using a dyslexic kind of font, which is a whole other discussion. Anyway, don't publish with a dyslexic font. Kindle has a dyslexic font for people who have dyslexia. Adobe Garamond is expensive. You can also use EB Garamond. That one is free. Letter E, letter B, Garamond. So EB Garamond is free, and it is very, very good. I published the first edition of Water of Awakening, I think. This book was published with EB Garamond. It might still be set in EB Garamond. In fact, I can check real quick. Nope, this one's Garamond Pro. So this is the second edition. So if you get the hardback, which is second edition, it's going to be Garamond Pro, Adobe Garamond. If you're getting the original edition, if you have the original edition, it's an EB Garamond, and it looks perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with EB Garamond. And I'm trying to think what this one's set in. I'm almost positive this one is Adobe Garamond. Yeah. So that one's Adobe Garamond too. I use Adobe Garamond for 6x9s. For 8x5s, I use Arno Pro. So those are the fonts that I use most often. And sometimes I will use Minion if I need something a little bit more condensed. But usually Arno Pro, Adobe Caslon I will use. And for larger books, usually Adobe Garamond Pro. This will be a weird one. Yeah, I like Legos. Legos are cool now. Legos are great now, for the most part. Lego still comes out with really cool sets. I just keep doing the blitz input wrong. Oh, this is not even going to hit them all. Yeah, it's going to miss them all. It's not going to do anything. I feel like Minecraft stole Lego's jobs. My son has a ton of Legos and he does not like Minecraft at all. It's not remotely enjoyable for him, so... I kept my Legos, and my son gets to play with them, and he also gets to play with the new Lego sets. Like, the Ninjago sets are great. It's full of ninjas with swords killing each other. Like, Legos are awesome. They're bringing back Castle Legos, too, which I'm, like, very excited about. Very excited about that. Some of that. We got the new Castle Lego set for Christmas, and it's really cool. I often get stuck in the middle of my novel. Have you any tips for getting out of the middle of the novel rut? Yeah, plan your writing. Number one reason people abandon their books is they have not planned them. Uh-oh, Red Dragon. What did I just do? I'll just keep suplexing him. That doesn't do anything. She has magic. We'll just fight her for now. Let's keep suplexing this guy. S-Cross. What does this do? Whoa. There's a bunch of damage. Mainly by Technic sets and build vehicles. Just achieve pneumatic brakes. Ouch! Fire 3. We got him! We got him! Loving the new book. Thank you very much. Your action scenes are something very special. For some reason, they remind me of the sea battles in Master and Commander. Just give me the same feeling. I'm glad. I like writing pirates. 6 dragons left. I just want to see what's in the chest, bro. Chest is probably empty. That's gonna be the thing, huh? Cyclonic. Didn't do anything. And Relaya is just like a crappy character. Nothing works. Okay, that heals him, so that's bad. As a kid, I loved making original spaceships out of Legos. Me too, man. I made so many fun ones. Oh, book order came in the mail finally. Be reading it soon. Thank you. I had so much fun doing like my own weird spaceships. And this is before there were Star Wars Legos or anything like that back in the day. You know, you just kind of had to make the stuff up as you went. Used to make my own Star Wars Legos. Used to make up my own original spaceships. Pulled my guys apart and do different things with new guys. I like my space pirates. I had a whole space pirate thing that I made up. Dragonhorn. What is I don't know what Dragonhorn does. I don't know if it's something I can equip. I don't know. Dragonhorn makes jump continuous. Whoa. Interesting. I bet you there's something cool I can do with that, but I don't know it yet. Go this way. Lego made Star Wars even more popular than before. In fact, not only that, but Lego Star Wars, like, Lego is the only thing keeping Star Wars merchandise afloat. Like, if it weren't for Lego, there would be pretty much no Star Wars merchandise sold. Like, that's how bad their sales are right now. I used to make in fact, my son did this. We made a castle, but we used the moon space set. So we made a castle on the moon. And instead of it being on the moon, because it's all blasted, we decided it was like the darkness land. And we made it a bad guy castle. And did that whole bit. So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoy, it's probably one of my favorite things to do with my son and my daughter. My daughter loves him too. She can go this way. Glad to hear you're moving to my home state. Any tips? I'm going back home because I've been there. I was born there. It's the... Where is he? Hornet. Any tips on getting ready to move? I'll be going from North Carolina to Pennsylvania later this year. I have no idea how to get ready for it. I am learning that as I go, my friend, and it is not easy. So, because of our particular situation, what we're probably going to have to do is pay out the nose for moving, because we're going to have to store a bunch of stuff just to sell the house because we have so much crap. And then, like, some of it is... I'm going to have to get, like, I might buy a trailer to haul, like, my guns and stuff. Because I can't really ship the guns with a mover. And there's a lot of stuff like that. Same thing with guitars. I can't really ship my guitars or my guns with a mover. So that means I have to figure out... I have to haul those myself, which is going to be a giant pain in the butt. But my mom is... like renting a house in the Houston area, so I'll be able to ship those things myself and store them there. then I can move everything else later. But yeah, we're going to have to store a bunch of stuff to sell the house. Then we'll have to get that stuff and move it. It's just going to cost a bunch of money to get all of our stuff. And that's why I'm like, man, I got to get rid of so much stuff. You know, we're trying to fix the house up so that it will sell better, which is a thing. Let me see. Can I walk around? I think there's a chest I can get over here somewhere. Yeah, this one. So, yeah, that stuff is not something I can really move myself. So that's going to be a pain. A lot of it's going to be a big pain in the butt. I guess the main thing is, like, what I kind of wish I had done or known was, like, if I'm willing to put it in storage for 3 months, I should probably be willing to sell it or get rid of it. You know? I have way too many books. I have way too many books. You know? I have like 5 bookshelves full of books, and I've read them all. You know, I just have too many books. I have too many everything. Too many guitars, guitar cases, old computer hardware that just probably needs to be thrown away. I mean, it's just too much stuff. You know, that stuff binds you. Stuff like weighs you down. It's like the backpack scene from Up in the Air. It's like, imagine everything you own like dragging you to the floor. And just dragging you down. Too many physical possessions. Should make another stream of Distia soon. Yeah, I really like it. I think I have the PSP version of the first game, which I think was a PS2 game. It's really fun. I really enjoy the tactical gameplay of it. I got zombified. Oh boy. This is attacking everyone randomly. That's fun. Is it necessary to get dedicated creative writing education? No. And it may to become more seasoned and thoughtful writers. It's simply just doing it more instructive. Just doing it's more instructive, and in fact, a college education can be unintuitively bad for you because the people giving you the education don't know what they're doing and may actually teach you the wrong things. I was going to do a video, and I'll probably do it today on adverbs. It's like you hear this writing advice that like adverbs are bad. No, adverbs are good. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with adverbs. But generally, programs in, say, creative writing focus on all of the wrong things and all the things that aren't really necessary for you to be successful. So they barely focus on the craft as in terms of what makes something good or bad, like the actual story craft versus the, you know, they'll focus on like, oh, look, let's read, you know, we'll evaluate James Joyce or something, and we'll talk about those things. And how he wrote this prose, and, you know, that's not what sells. So most people are interested in being genre writers. And if you're interested in being a genre writer, then there's no reason to go to a university for a literature degree or for a creative writing degree. It's just not going to help you very much at all. And in fact, it may actually hurt you in ways you're not going to quite realize. Oh, we're both here. Okay, that's good. But the main thing you have to think about is like, what's the opportunity cost, right? All the time spent at a university getting a degree in literature or creative writing that will in no way guarantee that you get any of the skills that you need to be successful. Keep in mind, you know, your favorite authors probably don't have creative writing degrees. Maybe that's not true. I mean, I think Brandon Sanderson has one, and he's really good. So, but You know, Michael Crichton was a doctor. You know, you gain the skill by doing it. If you spent 4 years, let's say you're like a really dedicated student, you're gonna get through the education in 4 years. Taking 20 units a semester or something like that. If you spent those 4 years just putting out books, do you think you'd be in a better or worse position? I can almost guarantee you'd be in a better position. Now, I say this as a person with a music degree. If I spent the 4 years I spent getting a music degree, if I'd spent those 4 years just gigging my ass off, I probably would have ended up in a better position than 4 years spent, learning the curriculum of the institution. All right, take it easy, Squirrel Lord. Thank you for reading. So yeah, you'd probably be better off just like working your ass off for 4 years writing versus like attending classes. I mean, it's not that you're going to get 0 out of the classes, but you could be indoctrinated into thinking like the people at a university who don't write books that people read, which is probably not what you want either. You know? You don't want like a thorough education in postmodernism when no one reads or cares about that. Let's see here. I'm going to actually save the state so I don't forget what I'm doing here. Key! You're all safe! Behold, the legendary relic that can restore life. That looks like magicite. Correct. Legend has it that ages ago the phoenix was turned to stone, and many legends are based on facts. This has some major cracks in it, though. I fear it may have lost its power over time. I wasn't able to save Rachel. I've lost all sense of purpose. My life will have no meaning until I can right this terrible wrong. Will you come with us, only as far as Kohlingen? The village of Kohlingen. At least we got through that cave. How goes the Lenten social media disconnect? Well, it's fine. I just noticed that, like, I feel bored during lots of little points in time where I'm like, I would normally get my phone out and like doom scroll, and instead I'm just sitting in silence. You know? It's fine. It's good. It's good to not pay attention to like the influx of information of any kind, because I don't watch TV either. So it's like I've figured out it's better to carry a book around, and then I could read something or like play on my Vita or something like that. It's a lot better way to fill time. If only the magicite didn't bear those deep cracks. I think you've been wasting your time, young man. Phoenix. Frank Herbert was a journalist. He came up with Dune while writing a news story on sand stabilization. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Wah! The magicite's gonna shatter. Key. Rachel. Key, I've dreamed of seeing you. I've wanted to hear your voice. Rachel! The Phoenix has given me so little time. I have to leave again soon. But I have something I must tell you. Key. With you, I was so happy. In the instant that the accident occurred, I thought only of you. And about the joy you brought me. Thank you, Key. I'll never forget you. Rachel! I have to go now. I'll always love you. You must now cast off the anguish you've been harboring inside for so long. Today I set your heart free. You must learn to love yourself again and regain your self-respect. Phoenix, be reborn again and give your power to Key. It's amazing how we've been programmed to fill our spare moments with scrolling and not something like reading or other simple activities. After this cutscene, I'll get you David Dilks' question. The Phoenix. Key. Thanks, I'm okay. I feel lighter than air. From here on, I'll be alright. Let's go, we have work to do. What's up? I like this music. There's something about the SNES, like, sampled synthesizers. I just love them. X Potion, Phoenix Down, X Ether, Elixir, Flame Shield, Valiant Knife. The treasures of the Phoenix Cave. Right, let's move out. We have an appointment with Kefka. Let's see if there's anything to find in here. You never know, you know? Okay, so, is it bad to write a trilogy in different genres? The short answer is yes. But for this reason, is that readers read in genres, not authors. So, this is just something I figured out a long time ago, is that ultimately most readers are not going to care that you're writing outside of some genre that they're interested in. They're interested in westerns or sci-fi or fantasy. So if you write book 2 in a different genre, they'll be upset because they only were interested in reading that one genre, like fantasy. They really weren't interested in reading other genres at all. And so you're just kind of, I don't know, hamstringing yourself. You're going to upset your readers. All right, I'm going to save the state. Yeah, a good author could make it work, but for the most part, like, in just terms of marketability, most readers, I know this for a fact, is because I write in multiple genres. There's people who only really want to read my horror stuff, and there's people who really only want to read the fantasy stuff. And, like, no one's really that interested in science fiction, you know? It's just how it is. So it's nothing, like, bad or wrong. It's just the way it is. You know, they're not bad for wanting what they want. Man, I got a lot of gold here. Let's buy some more Phoenix Downs. Remedy. That's what I have to say. Those beautiful days will never return. I don't usually edit other people's books because I don't want to do that. I have edited for other people before, like as favor, but I don't sell editing services, and I'm not interested in selling editing services because I don't have a whole lot of time, and I need to fill that time with things that I really care about doing, and editing is not one of those things. So, yeah. That's it. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Is The Kingkiller Chronicle the most overrated fantasy sci-fi book ever published? Probably. Like, Name of the Wind is one of the worst sci-fi... It's one of the worst books I've read. And it's certainly one of the worst fantasy books I've read. It's really... You know, I go back and read parts of it, and it's like, it's so much worse. It's just a really bad book. The characters are awful. The prose is like very... It's not even good prose, really. It's just a really bad book. I don't know why it was successful. But here's the white pill in the fact that it's a bad book. Okay? So the white pill in the fact that it's a bad book is this. If Patrick Rothfuss can make a bestseller out of Name of the Wind... You don't even have to be... You need to have tons of confidence. You don't have to be a good writer to sell a lot of books. You just don't have to be. Obviously, you don't, right? Crap sells, so get crapping. Yeah, so if you're worried like, man, am I not a good enough writer to sell books? Yeah, you are. You don't have to be a good writer to sell books. You don't have to be a good musician to sell albums, right? You just have to show up and maybe you write something that just kind of gets the moment, like the flavor of the moment just right, and you could sell a lot of copies too. It's a roll of the dice. There's a lot of randomness, and the race is not to the swiftest nor the battle to the strong, and that's okay. You could be upset about it, or you can just embrace it. Roll the dice, have fun writing what you want to write. Don't worry about somebody who says you're not a good writer, because in the end of the day, that's not going to determine your success at all. You can be terrible. You can be terrible and like I think he has a university job teaching creative writing. You could be terrible and have a job teaching other people how to be terrible and yet sell books. And other people who are really good can be completely obscure. So don't worry about being the best. Just worry about doing your work and maybe you'll be successful, you know. Yeah, don't waste another minute feeling like you're not good enough. You are good enough, obviously. And the thing is that to have like wide appeal and to reach people and to touch them, you don't have to be the most skilled person on the planet. You know, you can be the world's greatest Baroque lutenist and like, you know, play perfect renditions of Weiss and Bach on your lute. And the guy who picked up guitar 3 months ago and played something that just happened to be kind of interesting to a lot of people gets more attention. You're like, this world is not fair. It's like you should just be doing a lot of random stuff like that and just having fun with it. And then you'd probably have even more success. Or if you don't have the same success, at least you did something that was fun and you had fun doing it, you know? So yeah, just don't worry about judging yourself harshly. Obviously, you want to improve. You want to do the best job you can. I don't want to say like you shouldn't care about quality at all. But, and it's not all dumb luck. But, you know, to a certain point, you just don't need to worry too much about being the best ever and like fixing every little imperfection. Just do it. Just get out there and do it. Okay? Yeah. Sometimes you don't need to be a good director to sell movie tickets. There's bad films that make a ton of money. Okay. All right. I'm out of time, guys. I got to go do other stuff. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I will stream next week at the same time, and I'm going to try to put out some videos during the week. I may not be reading comments, though, because I'm taking a break from social media. I'm not on Twitter or anything. If you need me, you can email me, stu@dvspress.com, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one. Oh, my dog's barking. Yeah, what you need, dog?